Well, hello there, Cancer. How are you? It is always so good to see you. I'm Mary Sue, and I'm so grateful that you're here. So today we are going to do your October reading. So let's jump into it. Let's see what's on the horizon. Mouse Spirit, tend to the small things. It's the number 40, and 4 plus 0 equals 4. And 4 is all about house, home, the people in your home, stability in your home, the things that maybe, because we just had the new moon in Virgo, the things you can do on a daily basis that bring more of a sense of stability in your home life, right? That could even be like paying your bills, like having a real system, if they're not already automated. It's kind of like, what are the things that you can do? Rituals, maybe it's 30 minutes a day. You run around and pick up the house, or, you do laundry on Tuesdays, or whatever it is. There's something here that's coming through that it's in those mundane tasks that we have to do on a daily basis, that we bring the stability to our home life. And then unknown territory where you are exactly where you need to be. I feel like there's chaos in your home environment. Okay, so it could be that there's you're working on a renovation of your home, right? Or it could be that there's drama in your neighborhood, or maybe drama within your home. Right. It's when you don't focus so much on the problem, even though you may have to be working on that, like say the plumbing needs to be redone or something like that. But it's about understanding that it's the things that you do on a daily basis that help prevent the drama, the chaos in our life. And for some reason, I feel like this has something to do with your home environment. Maybe even your finances. Okay, but it's like home finances, right? It could be your neighborhood. It could be the town that you live in. There's something here about learning the value of taking care of things on a daily basis instead of running around and having to put out fires. Yeah, courage. I feel like this is something about having the courage to face the things on a daily basis. I feel like there's something here where you're learning, because Jupiter is now in your first house, in your sign. There's something here about understanding that it takes courage to perhaps have conversations on a daily basis with the people that you come in contact with every day, especially in your home, right? So that there aren't eruptions and then you're running around putting out fires. There's something here about, it's so funny because you've had a lot of your recent readings have been about perhaps having a reconnection with family or something like that. But I think what you're also understanding is that you don't want to get to this point ever again, right? Where you feel like all you're doing is putting out fires, or there's drama or chaos, right? You're kind of like, I'm done with that. And so it's kind of recognizing what has occurred on a daily basis is bringing you to these eruptions, these dramatic events of whatever. Yeah, I feel like you're understanding that you have more power, okay? More of a sense of empowerment, okay? Not power over other people, but a sense of empowerment. Having power, confidence in yourself, in your relationships, in your home. When you allow yourself to not hide your feelings, okay? To not pretend everything's okay, but to have those conversations with the people in your life on a daily basis, right? But look, then it's a small thing, right? It's a small conversation. Would you mind putting the cap on the toothpaste? Right? Would you mind putting your dirty dishes all the way into the dishwasher? Right? It's like, instead of letting it build and build and build, hiding, smiling through it all, right? And letting it build, build, build till one day there's this eruption of, why can't you ever put your dishes in the dishwasher? Then it's a thing. Then it's a drama. Yeah, because I feel like whatever has occurred in the past, you're understanding that you're at a point in your life where you want to do things differently, but maybe it's kind of like the way that you have dealt with family communication, okay, or daily communication with the people that you spend the most time with. That maybe you didn't learn how to properly communicate your feelings in your childhood, okay, with your family. Maybe you grew up in a family where we don't discuss feelings. We wear a mask. It's all a facade. We pretend everything's okay when things aren't, right? And now what you're understanding is that you're perhaps seeing the same patterns in your own adult life. And what you're recognizing is that it's better to clear the air in a way, to have the courage to have the smaller conversations before it gets to the point where it's a big something. And this is beautiful. I feel like for some of you, you have taken a break, I will say, from relationships, okay? Or talking to someone, yeah. So you may have had, these two fell out. You may have had an ending with somebody, especially I just keep getting the home environment, okay? And you've had some time to heal from it, right? You've taken a break. Whether this is romantic, family, or a dear friend, you've had a break. But in this break, right, both of these, take a nap, Four of Swords, you've done some healing. I feel like the other person has too, because they actually had these two cards, right? So I feel like there was some break. Both of you have had some time to heal, to reflect, to understand that it's not really that the two of you don't connect on a soul level, that there isn't a lot of love there, but that you had difficulty in expressing your feelings, and perhaps the other person did too, right? Maybe you both grew up in the same environment. Maybe you're siblings, right? Or a parent and a child, whatever it is. It's kind of like understanding, okay, it is so funny because I have this card just sitting over here. And normally I have my decks, with the back showing, and this one is just sitting up listening. Maybe perhaps part of the issue in the past is that there hasn't been active listening, right? Or maybe you felt like you were unheard. Maybe even when you were trying to put it out there, you were trying to share your feelings, you felt like the other person, right, wasn't hearing you, wasn't actively listening to you, wasn't registering what you were saying. So maybe the thing is that it's not necessarily a lack of communication, but a lack of clarity in communication. Could have been a lot of communication. Maybe there was a lot of yelling, right? Or whatever. It could have been dramatic. But it's kind of like there were a lot of things said, but what you really wanted to express still was not expressed clearly in a way that the other person could also hear it. It's kind of like, if you only spoke, say, English, and the other person only spoke French, right? And you were trying to communicate, right? But it's kind of like neither one of you can understand the other person. It's kind of like your communication skills. Doesn't matter how good of a communicator you are, it's going to be hard to get the idea across. It's about, okay, maybe you need to go learn French or they need to learn English, or perhaps you need to go and learn how to sign language, right? Or draw it out, or whatever it is. It's kind of like understanding that there has to be a new way of communicating. And if you both speak the same language, then it's like, I think you have to get to the point where you understand, I can't just sugarcoat it, or I can't hope they can read between the lines, right? I have to be crystal clear. But in order to be crystal clear, you have to first go within and understand how you are really and truly feeling. Yeah, the truth is coming out. The truth is coming out. You're understanding the toxic patterns of communication that you have had in the past with loved ones, 6 of Cups, right? With people that you really and truly love, but you're understanding our form of communication. And therefore, it's like maybe unkind things were said, and I'm not condoning what anybody has said or done here, right? But it's kind of understanding that there was not clear communication between the two of you or within this group or whatever. It's time to allow yourself, and we have Page of Cups here, right? It's a softening. It's a softening, right? It's kind of like, I want to get back to the 6 of Cups. Well, there's 6 cups here, but you can't go from 1 to 6, right? You have to start with a 1. This is one small conversation, right? This is not something you're going to fix overnight. Understanding, okay, we have to have one conversation, right? Maybe this is just reaching out, or maybe they're reaching out to you. And it's kind of like, okay, we're just going to get really good on 1 cup. Maybe that means we don't go back and talk about everything right now. How are you doing? I miss you, right? It's kind of like just a small. Then the next time you talk, it's 2 cups, right? And that goes well. Then you go to 3 cups. Then you can get to this point where you are really and truly Queen of Cups, sharing yourself fully, understanding that you're learning how to communicate better. And so it's kind of like you have to start out as a page. You have to start out as a page and work your way up to being a queen. And that means practice. That just means practice. That means getting really good in your heart about your feelings. Maybe practice writing them down, practice saying them in the mirror. So that when you have these conversations, it's not quite so, it's not random or blunt or anything. It's more heartfelt. You're not quite maybe as anxious, because underneath this, we have the 4 of Wands, right? Happy family, happy home, people coming together, celebrating together. It's a beautiful energy. And I feel as though your obstacle is sharing your feelings, but you may be having to share this. We have a King of Pentacles here. Somebody that perhaps the King of Pentacles is a wonderful energy of stability, okay? But somebody that maybe is a little bit more concerned about money, okay? Or stability, right? Or could be the person that's really trying to pretend everything is okay. As long as we have a roof over our heads, we're good. Okay, but we can have a roof over our heads and everybody's unhappy. It's kind of like allowing ourselves to recognize it's not just what the house looks like, right? It's also what's going on inside the house. And then we have the Libra energy of justice, bringing back into balance this energy of emotions, as well as tending to the small things of taking care of a home. It's not just about taking care of the home, it's also about the connections with the people that are under the roof. Because I feel as though this is what you're doing. You're having the courage to say, I want to rebuild. This is the courage. So you have the courage card twice. I want to rebuild. And the reason I'm saying rebuild, and you could be rebuilding with people from the past, or you could be saying, I'm ready to build with someone new. Okay, because we do have a Page of Cups here, and a Page of Cups can be a new love coming in. If it's not reaching out to someone from the past, especially family, okay, then it's kind of like understanding that you have a new love coming in, and it's about, I don't want to build what I've had in the past, but instead of focusing on, I don't want what I had in the past, right? It's about, what do I want? And what skills, especially communication skills, do I maybe need to work on so that I can build a strong foundation with this person, right? This is you no longer like hiding who you are and how you feel, allowing yourself to share yourself with others, your feelings, your emotions with others, and starting out small and moving up to the queen, right? Allowing yourself to recognize this is something that you didn't really experience as a child, the ability to really share your feelings. And so you're understanding, if I want something different for myself in the future, whether that's with my family, right? Or with a new group of people or person in the future, then it's about me not focusing on how they're communicating, but on really practicing on how I can be a better communicator of my feelings, being more vulnerable. We can't change other people, but I feel like there's a message here where it can start with you, the saying, the man in the mirror. Look in the mirror and ask yourself, are you communicating how you feel? Instead of focusing on what others are doing, bring it back to you and ask yourself, how am I communicating? How can I start conversations? Once again, it's not about going in and trying to fix it with one conversation, but there is a need for conversations to occur in order to bring healing to yourself, right? To grow relationships in the future, and to feel a sense of empowerment in your relationships instead of feeling, I don't want to say you feel like a victim, but I feel like there's a little bit of codependence perhaps in your relationships. And part of that is because you don't feel confident in sharing who you really are, asking yourself why you want to hold back and be crystal clear, take the mask off, right? It's because probably your heart has been broken. Perhaps you've just never learned how to be vulnerable. Maybe it is about having the courage to go within and ask yourself, how do I feel? Maybe you've actually even hidden your feelings from yourself for a long time. This is a beautiful, beautiful message that things in your relationships, and especially with Jupiter in your sign, that things in your relationships are definitely going to blossom. It's about allowing yourself to not repeat the patterns of the past, right? You are exactly where you need to be. It's unknown territory. You haven't experienced this. And especially with the loving man coming in, right? It's kind of like, okay, there's an opportunity for a relationship to either rekindle or a new relationship to grow. And so it's kind of like, all right, what is it that I need? Oh, 4 ones. What is it that I need to get more comfortable with when it comes to conversations? Yeah. Beautiful energy here, Cancer. Beautiful. All right, let's pull a soul truth card for you for some final advice. And I do personal readings. So if you're interested, the link is in the description box below. I'd really be honored to do a reading for you. Yeah, what passion am I ready to pursue? In this instance, I feel like the passion is true connections with others. The passion is that you want to come out of the cage, right? And take off the mask and be your authentic self. The passion here is that I want the people in my life to know me for who I really am and love me for who I really am, right? But in some instances, okay, either you have separated yourself from people because they don't get you, right? And you've decided I have to move on. But before you bring new people into your life, being able to allow yourself to practice, right? Taking off the mask, stepping out of the cage of safety. This is a safety zone, right? And allowing yourself to be more vulnerable, even with the people that you come across on a daily basis, right? Allowing yourself to share a little bit more about yourself instead of maybe being quite so guarded. All right, I'm going to leave it there, Cancer. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate all of your support by liking, commenting, and subscribing. And I hope to see you again really soon. Bye for now.